Hey everybody, this is Tony, and I'm back today with a special guest, none other than Miss Shirley Jones of the Jones Girls. How you doing today, Miss Shirley?
I'm doing I'm doing good. I'm in shock like a lot of people. I'm staying home, trying to stay safe, but I am more hurting because of
Right.
the George Floyd incident, being the mother
Mhm.
of a young black 31-year-old 6'7" son myself, my only
Mhm.
child. My heart is broken right now. Truly, truly
Absolutely.
broken. Like I'm sure everyone is, because to see that video, uh, I just can't stop crying, thinking about my child, thinking about other
Mhm.
women's sons that we're losing to this racism, not the pandemic, but to this racism that has to stop. It just has to.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and it's very unfortunate to see things like this keep happening over and over. That's the really sad part about it as well.
Yes, over and over. And we all say, well, we're going to change things. We're going to, get together. We're going to talk about it. But then nothing happens. And then there's a next time. You know,
Exactly,
we all
exactly.
said the same thing 3 weeks ago with
Mhm.
Ahmaud Arbery jogging,
Yep.
which I was just doing in my neighborhood. Um, but you can't jog, you can't walk, you can't
Right.
drive while being black. It has got to stop. It has got to. And
Yeah.
I'm willing to be a part of whatever organization, because it's just, we have got to get some leaders in here, out there, that we have got to all get together, because some real change has got to happen, because it is just happening too frequent. You would think that with this pandemic going on, that the
Mhm.
police would not be thinking about. I mean, that man's knee, and he's not in jail, but his
Right.
knee was on that man's neck for over 8 minutes, and
Mhm.
nobody. I mean, I can understand why people, now the looting and all of that, I don't agree with, but I can see the anger. I can understand why people are going to the streets. It's just, it's heartbreaking. It's heart wrenching that with a pandemic going on that's killing us much more than other communities.
Mhm.
And then here we go with
Mhm.
the police again. It's just,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but something's got to happen, and something needs to happen quickly. Be out of control.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just like you said too, we need to have people who are going to be accountable for the things that are happening as well. And we need leaders to, or and we all need to be leaders that stand up for this kind of situation. Because it should not be a trend that a black person or a black man can't even jog or can't even go to the store or go out in public. Period. At this point,
Right, right.
without being killed or asked or something happening, or you have to worry about your child not coming home because you don't know what might happen.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
yeah, so
And
something definitely has to happen.
yeah, and it
Hmm.
needs to happen soon. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just listening and waiting, and anything I can do. I'm going to be out there marching or doing whatever I need to be doing, as well as my son. And because he's 31 years old, he's an up and coming rapper, doing very well. My nephew. I mean, I have young black men that are in this vulnerable category for just
Mhm.
that the police are threatened by young black men. And I don't understand that. My son and my nephew are well educated, but I fear for them. He's coming in town. My nephew's coming from Detroit tomorrow because they're shooting a video to their hip
Okay.
hop version of Who Can I Run To, that is doing
Mhm.
really, really well. Um, that he's coming in tomorrow, and I was just telling my son, when you pick him up from the airport, please be very careful. You know, he has one of those muscle cars, and I told him, I said, because you guys, you know, you're target people. They are targets. You young black men are targets in this country, and it's got to stop. I'm just not going to allow this to keep happening. Like I said, I'm willing to form with mothers, preachers, whoever, because we've got to put an end to this.
Absolutely. And, I'm glad that you're willing to lend your voice to such a cause, just because it very well could have been you at some point, but thank God it wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
And, I have to think about the situation previously. You know, my mother did, had a scare, when I went out once and I was stopped by the police. And nothing happened, but she was just so nervous because I was stopped by them. And when I got home, she was like, well, what happened? Well, she was kind of frantic. And I'm like, why are you, acting like this? Are you all right? So I had to think about it, though, because I am a young black man, too. And, I realized as a mother the fear that she might have had just because they had even stopped me.
Oh,
so
yeah, absolutely.
It's something big.
You don't know what type of police officer is going to stop you. That's
right.
what I tell my son. It's not so much of being stopped, but you don't know if one of these racist cops, like the one that had his knee on this man's neck, is going to stop you and drag you out your car and then do something like that to you. That's why we worry. And tell my son to please drive the speed limit. Make sure you have nothing in your car. Make sure you're, obeying all the rules, because you don't know who's going to stop you. What type of officer is going to stop you? And I didn't mean to veer from the interview, but I just, my heart has just been so broken. And I guess I need to remind my son to stop watching the video. I said, you can't help but see it. It's on all the TVs, but I am going to try to move away from the TV for a while now and just pray and, listen out for whatever, because I'm definitely going to be a part of whatever is going on here in Atlanta to protest this man's death. I will definitely be a part of that, just to put my voice and show our support.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I thank you for even for bringing it up, because it's not a problem for me. Those kind of things need to be talked about, and we're going to talk about some music and other stuff, but those kinds of things need to be talked about, because if not, just like you said earlier, it'll keep happening. So I'm happy that you talked about it.
Right.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's talk about some music.
All right.
on a little lighter note.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you have been a recording artist for over 30 years at this point. And you're only 29.
Right. And happy.
Exactly. But I know now that you have a new single out, I Won't Tell.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I listened to the song. I liked it. The concept reminded me of something like Billy Paul's Me and Mrs. Jones. It was nice.
Yeah.
Where did that concept come from? How did the song come about?
Just that. It came about some friends of mine a girlfriend of mine that was talking about a situation she had been in for quite a while. And, and I thought about it. I said, a lot of people have gone through situations like that, where we know it's forbidden, but it's still something that happens, and it happens in it's just a part of life.
Right.
And I thought about writing it when I started writing the song. I said, I wanted, Who Can I Run To happens to be my favorite Jones Girl song. And I was singing, I was getting ready to do a show, and it was a track show I was doing, so I was practicing. And then all of a sudden, the lyrics that I was writing, I just start singing those lyrics to the track. And I said, oh, you know what? Why not put those lyrics to this track? It already has a built-in audience, and sample my own song. Why not? And that's how it came about. And like my dear friend Jean Carnes, when she heard it, the song, she said, "Girl, that song is like me and Mrs. Jones. Your body as we lay, and your body's here with me on steroids." And that,
exactly,
it's about a illicit love affair, but illicit love affairs happen, and it's that's what it is, a love affair. It's a love affair that has just been going on, and then neither one of them are trying to hurt anybody, even though what they're doing is wrong. They still love each other and know it's wrong, but can't seem to separate that, So that's how it came about.
Okay. I think the thing that I liked about it most was not only because it used the "Who Can I Run To" beat, but the way that you had written it. It didn't sound aged. It actually sounded like a new song.
Right. That's what everybody say. Well, when I write, my son's 30, and my two adopted kids, they're like 27 and 25. So they keep me kind of abreast on things that are going on because they can relate to that. Because a lot of that's going on, with the younger generation too, as far as illicit love affairs. So
of course,
they keep me young.
Okay, that's definitely a good thing. Now, with the single, are you planning to release more singles, or are you planning to release an album at some point? What's going on?
Well, the album, this is part of a 6. I have 6 songs already that I've done, but this is the kickoff single from the album, which I was hoping was going to be coming out later this year. But with the pandemic going on, it's put a like a 6 to 7 month delay on everything. I mean, we were in the middle of filming our unsung story, and that's been put on hold because it was supposed to be showing in August, but we haven't even finished filming yet, and I'm not even sure when we're picking back up to do it. So it's the album, though, that I'm working on, that this song will also be a part of, is a tribute album to my sisters called In Loving Memory, which is going to be a tribute album to both Brenda and Valorie. Right. And half of the album are going to be remakes, like I Won't Tell, of our songs. And then the other half are songs that I'm writing personally for my sisters.
Wow, that is a blessing, and it's amazing. Of course, because you started out with your sisters and your mother singing, and then eventually you and your sisters had the Jones Girls, where you guys had numerous hits with "Nights Over Egypt," "You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else," "I Just Love the Man," and many more, of course. And "Who Can I Run To?" So to honor them in that way, I think that's such a wonderful thing. Let's talk about the start of the Jones Girls, if you don't mind. How did you all get into singing?
We started as background singers behind my mom, Mary Frazier Jones, who was the first Black gospel singer to sign with RCA Records. They signed my mother, and there's a newspaper article of that. They signed her to the label the same day they signed Little Richard to the label.
Oh wow!
And she was pretty popular in the Detroit, Ohio, Chicago area. And once she knew that for a year or so, it was just my mom and I. I was singing with her. Then Brenda started singing, and then it was the 3 of us. And then once she realized Valorie could sing, that's when she started grooming our voices, harmonizing us, teaching us, because my mother was also the director of her choir, so she knew voices and music.
Right.
And was excellent at that. And we practiced with us, trained our voices, also enrolled us in vocal school and piano. So we all are musically, we know piano, we read music and all of that. So that's how we started with her.
Okay. And then, once you guys got started in the industry, before you actually had your debut album, you guys did backgrounds for a lot of artists. Some people probably don't even realize, from Aretha Franklin all the way to Diana Ross.
Exactly, we did. And throw Helen Reddy, Cher, Lou Rawls, Teddy Pendergrass, Norman Connors, Linda Clifford, Al Johnson, Curtis Mayfield. So we did background for just about everybody during that 75 to 79 time frame. And then even after that, I'd say from 75 up until like 80. Even once we were the Jones Girls, and even once You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else was out. And even though we were traveling and still pursuing our newfound success as a female group, people still wanted us to do background for them. And when we had off time, we did, because we always enjoyed doing background. That was our niche. That was what we perfected, and that's what we had worked on perfecting for so long. So, right. So we enjoyed it. So we did.
Okay. Now, was there a difference for you for singing background for all those other artists and big artists at the time, in fact, and then going into your own success?
Yes, we did. Well, Diana Ross was the person that really propelled us out there. Okay. When we became background singers.
I heard that she was kind of instrumental in you guys getting signed to Gamble and Huff's record label, as opposed to somewhere like Motown.
Right. She was absolutely instrumental in that. She actually, after we finished the first leg of her world tour, when we were hired as her background singers, we came back from London, and she said to us then, "You guys are too good to be background singers behind me or anyone else. So what I'm going to do, I changed outfits several times in my show. I want you ladies to learn a song and, let me know what it is, and I'm going to introduce you to the world." And that's what she did. The next leg of her tour, when she went to change clothes, she would tell everybody, I'm going off to change, but so many of you are wondering who these lovely ladies are that are singing behind me. Well, I'm going to let you know. And she would call us down, and we chose the song, If I Ever Lose This Heaven. That was a big Quincy Jones record at that time. And we chose that song, and we just happened to be singing it one night when Gamble and Huff, we were in Philadelphia at the Schubert Theater. And we were singing it, and they heard it and liked what they heard, and immediately came backstage and, offered us a deal. And
wow.
The rest is history, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
But on your 1979 self-titled album, The Jones Girls, of course, that was the first solo album. I mean, not solo, but the first album you guys put out. You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else was the hit off of that album. I remember listening to an interview that Brenda did, God rest her soul, years ago, and she said she remembered going back and forth with either Gamble or Huff about that single being put out at the time. Was there a particular song on that album or songs that you were not really in agreement with, or you were like, is that really what we're going to do?
On that particular album, I think we all wanted Who Can I Run To? I know I did, which it did be Who Can I Run To was on the B-side. Who Can I Run To was my favorite. But Gamble and Huff wanted You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else, and I'm glad they decided on that because there were so many on that album. I Just Love the Man, I'm at Your
Right.
Mercy, This Feeling's Killing Me, which is a huge song over in
Mhm.
London and Europe to this day. So there were
Right.
so many, and of course, we didn't know, and they made the decision, but uh, they did put Who Can I Run To on, because at that time there were A sides and B sides to
B sides,
singles.
right.
Right,
Mhm.
and Who Can I Run To was the B side.
Well, speaking of Who Can I Run To, since you said that one's your favorite, what drew you to that song so much?
I think it's the lyrics and then the melody. And I just personally like my vocal performance on that one too. I just love the way the melody flows lyrically. It
Mhm.
sounds, and I have always loved that song because it's it's haunting. Where you're asking, hey, a lot of people out there need love. A lot of people need help. Who can you run to when you really need love?
Right.
And
Right.
a lot of people. That's a good question to ask. Who do you run to? Myself personally, I lean on the Lord. Always have. I trust
Absolutely.
God, and that's who I turn to. And then other positive people, especially right through now. I think all of us are asking because it's just so much hate going on. Uh, and I lean on music. Music to me is the universal language of love.
Mhm.
And I'm
Absolutely.
hoping music is going to get us out of this, through this. I'm working on doing a live performance now that's going to be streamed. So we're working on that now because so many of my fans here and especially over in Europe, I had just got back February 23rd from two sold out shows in London,
Okay.
the 21st and the 22nd. And then my
Mhm.
son and I got back on the 23rd. And the next week we were locked down. And so many people want to see that show replicated. And I plan to do that with my band. In fact, we're in talks now with a nightclub up in Chattanooga where my band is to let us,
Okay.
uh, have the room and do a performance. So we're
Mhm.
working on that. That'll be coming out soon.
Oh, that would be great, and that sounds very interesting, especially with how everybody is doing the different streams and things like that now to kind of adjust.
Yeah.
But just going back to Who Can I Run To, though, of course, Escape uh, covered the song 16 years later in 1995 for when you guys first did it.
Right.
And it made it a hit again because it was
Yeah.
already a hit with you guys. What did you think when you first heard the remake?
Oh, I was happy because it brought a lot of attention back to us. Because in those days, a lot of the radio stations would play their version and then play our version. And so
Right.
it's a lot of younger people that had never heard of the Jones Girls uh, would say, oh my goodness, so this song isn't new. This is, no, nothing's new. Everything that's new comes from something that was old, that was before.
Absolutely.
And so I was excited because it brought a little attention back to us. So we were excited about that.
I think, to be completely honest with you, I think the Jones Girls were really underrated. Of course, you guys had hits and people know your name. Don't get me wrong, but I think that you were really underrated in the sense of, so many girl groups were out during that time, and then we went into a disco era where you had
Right.
more artists emerging. And I think that you guys' name happened to somehow get lost somewhere. Um,
That's exactly what
it,
happened.
yeah,
We're a perfect
yeah.
example of unsung, and that's why I was so looking forward to, and still looking forward to, once this is over, with us finishing our episode. Because
Hmm.
if anybody embodies the name unsung, it's my sisters and I, because of the music that we brought to the world not just our own music, but background singing for so many other artists as well.
Right. Yeah, and I think, like I said, I don't think people realize, how much work you guys put in, especially with background, and then going to be stars of your own, and just what you contributed to music as a whole. I think if people, and I'm glad that Song has even, considered you guys to do it, because I think that when people see this and they see what you guys really put in, they will have more of an appreciation for the Jones Girls music and you guys as people. Although your sisters aren't here anymore, it's still, a good gesture to me personally.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and I'm still here representing, and I'm going to keep that name and the legacy going as long as I'm alive, and I hope to be alive for quite some time to come.
Absolutely. we of course hope for that. After the third album that you guys did, you went and did a solo album of your own though, with on the same label, on Gamble and Huff's label, and then you ended up on the very first album with a number one R&B hit.
Yes, I did.
So what was that? Like for you jumping out of a group and then going into a solo album almost not I won't say immediately, but almost immediately.
It was a little scary because I had been so used to, working with my sisters.
Hmm.
But it was also exciting because it was a new adventure for me. And I always
Hmm.
like trying new things. And for Do You Get Enough Love to be a number one record off of that was just the icing on the cake. To get a number one record your first time out as a
Right.
soloist was that was just the icing of the cake of all of it. So
Hmm.
I am so thankful, and that song to this day is still being streamed so much, on radio and played on radio. A lot of our songs are being played on radio, and streaming uh, is going crazy. So that is really good because we do get paid now, through
Right.
sound
Right.
stages. We're getting paid off of the more our music is streamed, the more we get paid. So that's a good thing because my sister's kids, they all benefit from that. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that's a good thing.
Yes, and the song, by the way, is "Do You Get Enough Love?" Just in case somebody
Yeah,
didn't know,
yeah.
that we were talking about. But
Do
as a
you
songwriter,
get enough love? Yeah,
uh,
that's it.
all right now. As a songwriter, though, what is most important to you when you're writing a song?
um, for it to be lyrically sound, and most of my songs that I write are from some sort of personal experience, and then I try to write songs that make people think, make you think
Hmm.
about, ask a question, think about, if you were in this situation. So I always try to, I write life experience songs, but I also try to write uplifting songs that leave you thinking. And
Right.
everything that I write, everything I perform, everything I talk about, ultimately, my goal is love and love of oneself, love of the community, love of God,
Hmm.
just love and peace, because we need more of that.
Yeah, I watched a clip earlier in an interview that you did after a performance. You said you didn't really, have a favorable view of profanity, basically, in the music, and how a lot of artists, are kind of doing that thing. But that's not something that you were after.
There are too many other words out there to
Right,
really,
right.
there's too many words out there to say the same thing, that to express how you feel.
Hmm.
And I'm big on words. I would never use profanity. Um,
And even with, your solo stuff, and the stuff that you're doing now, whether it was written by you or you and your sisters, or even the Gamble and Huff stuff that was written, most of it is about love.
oh
You
yeah,
know, so it's a recurring theme, at least with you guys that I noticed. Like I said, most of that stuff is about love. It's about positive messages. I can't think of a song that you guys have that was, that would be negative. Even with, I won't tell now, even though it's about an affair, maybe it's still, the
the
way
love.
that you put it,
Right,
right. The way that you put it, it goes. So it's still a message.
right.
And that's something that I appreciate.
Well, that's one of the things about Philadelphia International. The OJ was it was messaging the music there.
Right.
Family reunion from the OJs, us at peace with woman. Uh, we always that was their theme. Social, active songs. To put the world to be a better place. You know, it it just all the songs that were coming out of Philadelphia
Right.
were uh, about love and wake up everybody. It means wake up. Hey, no more sleeping in bed. It's a lot of things we need to do, and that's so pertinent now. And most of those songs
Mhm.
are 30 or 40 years old, which goes to
Mhm.
show you that we've got to make a change now, so that 30 years from now, you all, your generation and my son's generation are saying, wake up. We're woke,
Right.
and we got to make some changes now, because I don't want to be
Right.
singing you all singing this same song um, 30 years from now and nothing's changed. The change has
Right.
got to happen now.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Even with "Wake Up Everybody" that Teddy Pendergrass did, and
Uh-huh.
Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On," and
What's going
you
on?
know th-
Yeah.
th- those kind of songs come in my mind when I think about that kind of thing. So you're absolutely right. Um, what are some of your fondest memories that you have from when you guys first started in the industry, if you could recall some?
Oh boy, when the first show we did with Diana, as
Hmm.
coming down from our perches up there, uh, singing background behind her and doing our first performance, I never will forget that. Uh, we were nervous and scared. The first uh, show that we did over in the Philippines, singing before, where we were headlining, and we had 2 nights sold out in the
Hmm.
Philippines of 10,000 people. It was in their big stadium at that time. And that was, God, I remember that. There's video of
Hmm.
that show too. And those days, that was really nice. The first time we opened for the Jacksons, that was
Hmm.
a huge crowd, 15,000 some odd people, because we did a 4 city swing tour with them, their West Coast dates that their father, Joe Jackson, insisted on us being the
Right.
opening act.
Hmm.
That brings back fond memories when we got a chance to meet the Jacksons, and
Hmm.
oh, it's just so many. Uh, but that, so many. But it's all been wonderful, and I'm hoping that once this pandemic is over, to get back into it, because, like I say, that's the best part to me is performing for my audiences, because I just love it. I love performing.
Right.
I love spreading that love through music, and
Hmm.
I want to get back to it sooner than later.
Absolutely. And speaking of performing, I know you spent a lot of performing overseas as well. What to you is the difference between the audiences, between the overseas audiences like the UK and the US?
Um, they're pretty much the same. The overseas, the interesting thing about them is that they know the history of us, uh,
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
every group that goes over there. That's one of the things that we all, because back in October, I was over there with Jean Carn, Melba Moore, Melissa
Okay.
Morgan, and Glenn Jones. We were over
Okay.
there for 2 weeks together. And the one
Mhm.
thing that we all note is how much they know about us. They really dig into the history of the groups over there, and they appreciate uh, that. They
Right.
appreciate the
Mhm.
struggles that we all went through to, to perform, and they love that. They dig into the history, and that's one of the things that I would say is different from the audiences over there versus the audiences here. Here, they come to your shows based on, liking your songs from way back when, but a lot of it is like how current you are or your last hit.
Right.
Over
Right.
there, they come because of the body of your work. They're coming to your
Mhm.
show.
Yeah, that's it's so true. I never been, but I know I heard a lot of artists speak about that. And I did an interview with Joy Sims, the singer. Um, and that's something that we were talking about. But I appreciate the fact that artists who may not have had a hit out in, let's say, 30 years here can go over there and they can make them feel like they just had a hit yesterday.
Oh yes, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it's really something to see. Just like you said, they actually go into the history. They know even down to the fact that records that weren't hits or B sides or something like that. They know those records.
They know all of them. And
Hmm.
every time I'm over there, everybody bring out all their old Jones Girls albums because vinyl is really big. It's a resurgence of vinyl again back there over there. It's coming over here
Hmm.
too, but it's really resurging again over there. And everybody brings all six of the albums for me to sign, and they're excited about it. And I enjoy signing them uh, because it's a whole body of work that my sisters and I did. I'm just grateful and thankful to have been a part of that.
Absolutely. Now, just looking back over your career, solo work and Jones Girls work, what are you most thankful for throughout all of that?
I am most thankful for my mother taking the time to nurture and develop our voices and making sure that we never took our talent for granted, and that we always strove to be better, and that we we worked hard. My sisters and I worked hard. We studied.
Hmm.
We worked hard together. The one thing that I enjoy most of, and the memory that I enjoy most with my sisters was when we were rehearsing, and practicing and learning songs and singing different approaches to the song and how we were going to do that. Those were the best times ever working with
Right.
them on that.
Mm, that's wonderful. Um, Now at this stage in your career, of course, like you said, we got the new single out. I won't tell. Um, Working on the album is going to be released soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Um, and do we do we have a title for the album already or not yet?
In loving memory. That is
Okay.
definitely going to be the title.
Okay. So in love and memory, and then I know you said you're working on doing some of the streaming now, uh,
Hmm.
or the show, and then of course on song. Is there anything else you're looking forward to?
Um, just getting back out there and performing,
Okay.
performing. So I can't
All
wait
right.
till they figure out what this is and get it behind us so that we can, get back out there and continue to spread love, through
Absolutely.
music out there and
Absolutely.
bring joy
I'll
and
be
have
glad
people
when this
smile
is
again.
all over. And music, just like you said earlier, it's a healer. You know,
It is.
and
It is.
and so for people to see you, live and hear you and to reminisce on those songs that they know and they love, and even the new ones. It's just truly something, or it's an experience, I would say, for them to hear that. So I definitely hope, you're able to get back out on the road soon. And the last thing I'll ask is, if you could describe yourself in just 3 words, what would they be?
3 words: loving,
Hmm.
mom. I'm a mom. It
Hmm.
seems like I've been a mother forever. So I would say a loving, a loving mom, loving mom, and peace.
Okay, that'll work.
That's me. I'm loving, and I'm a mother, and I just want peace.
I know that's right. Well, Miss Shirley, I really, truly thank you for your time today and for doing this.
Well, thank
Before I
you.
let you go,
Uh-huh.
oh, no problem. And before I let you go, just let everybody know where they can find you as far as your website, your social media handles, all of that stuff.
You can find me at Facebook and Instagram, Shirley Jones of the Jones Girls. And my website is Shirley Jones Girl, no S,
Hmm.
.com. And Twitter, Jones Girl Shirley. But I'm most visible on Facebook and Instagram, and that's Shirley Jones of the Jones Girls.
Okay, wonderful. Well, again, like I said, thank you so much
And
um,
thank you.
for even doing this. Of course, anytime. I always look forward to having conversations. I don't call these interviews; I call them conversations.
That's what it
Um,
was. Beautiful
you know,
conversation.
and I'm glad that we could have it. You're still here, still singing, still beautiful, and releasing new music. So, ladies and gentlemen, go pick up her new single or stream it wherever you can find it. The single is called "I Won't Tell," and be on the lookout for her new album, "In Love and Memory."
Yes. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
And you have a
Thank
blessed
you, Mr. Lee. You do
All
the
right.
same.
Bye now.
Bye bye.